We all know that the 2025 NFL draft class is not the best for quarterbacks, but what does that actually mean for fantasy football? Just because this isn't the same class that we saw last year in particular, with a huge amount of quarterbacks drafted in the first round, doesn't mean there aren't still some players to like. And in this video, I'm going to give you my top 5 quarterbacks in this draft class. I'm going to tell you why I like them, what I potentially see them as in the NFL, and where you should be drafting them in your dynasty rookie drafts. Let's get into it. It says everything to me that my QB5 in 2025, I wouldn't take in Superflex until the back of the third round. And that's Quinn Ewers out of Texas. Now, there are a few other players that I like just behind him and some that I do think have some upside, but I ultimately landed with Ewers as my quarterback 5. He is a really difficult prospect to evaluate. If you look at the tape from 2022, for example, this guy looks like an absolute stud. If you look at last year's tape, he looks like a backup. Now, it's interesting to try and figure out what changed, but for me, the upside of the incredible arm talent is still definitely there. The release, he can get the ball out with a flick of his wrist. He can use loads of different arm angles. When he's in rhythm, he looks like he really has some upside. It's just a problem of when he's not in rhythm, and the inconsistency of his accuracy, particularly in the short game, is quite troubling to me. So there was huge progression in 2024. He really struggled to be able to actually get off of his first read. But then if you look back, the pocket mobility in 2023 was great. The ability to work with touch and timing, the ability to work out of structure, I was really impressed with. He reminds me a lot of early Sam Darnold. Now, obviously, that's not particularly exciting. That didn't go particularly well. But if he can show the same sort of development path that Sam Darnold showed, I think there's a real chance that Quinn Ewers could find himself as a starter in this league, which I don't think is the case for any of the quarterbacks outside of this group. Now, it's not the most exciting group, but for me, Quinn Ewers at the QB5 position, I'm taking him in one quarterback leagues. I'm not drafting him at all. And in Superflex or 2 quarterback leagues, probably towards the back of the third round, landing spot is going to be huge for this guy when we find out whether or not he's going to be a backup or potentially challenging for a starting spot, or even he's been rumoured quite a lot with the Rams and has met with them. If he can sit behind Matthew Stafford for a year or two, maybe there's a chance that he could be a long-term starter in the NFL. At QB4, I have Jackson Dart, and this is where we start to go off schedule a little bit. I like what I've seen from Dart. There's definitely a lot of what I see from him that I really enjoyed watching, whether it's looking at the accuracy, whether it's looking at the arm angles. His athleticism is quite sneaky, although that's a term you often get for white quarterbacks. It's the problem is that what I haven't seen from him. And this is the same issue that we had with Matt Corral coming out of Ole Miss. It's the same problem we have trying to scout Ole Miss wide receivers who basically just run slants, hitches, and goes, and then also work in the screen game in RPOs particular. The offense under Lane Kiffin is so different from anything you'll see in the NFL that his true dropback rate is incredibly low. And he just works off RPOs, play action. The play action rate was like nearly in the 90%. It's just not running an NFL offense. And the worry for me is that I don't think we've seen him make complex reads. We've not seen him diagnose a defense. We've not seen him make decisions post snap. And I think combined with the fact that his footwork can be quite lazy and the fact that I think he really struggles under pressure, he's really someone that just sees pressure coming and he's off. And he's not quite athletic enough to make that work 100% of the time. I'm just not 100% sold on Jackson Dart. Now, there are some people that love him, and I can really see why. And QB4, look, that's no slight on him, but obviously he's consensus QB3, although I think you're going to be surprised about how the rest of these rankings work out. For me, in Superflex, it's really going to be draft capital dependent. If he does find his way into the first round, there's definitely some interest there, and I'd probably take him in the early second of rookie drafts. In one quarterback leagues, it's going to be a fair amount further back. But yeah, Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss for me slots in as my quarterback 4 in the 2025 NFL draft. If you are enjoying this and you want more rookie content, why not go and check out my Fancy Pancake Top 50 Rookie Guide? It is filled with prospect analysis like this, comparisons, strengths, weaknesses, and it is available for free at the link below. But let's get back into the video. Next up for me, and this is where we are really starting to stray away from consensus, is Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado. Now, I like watching Shedeur. I think he is a very accurate quarterback. I think he's incredibly composed within the pocket and under pressure, sometimes a little bit too much, to be honest. I think he throws with timing. I think he knows how to throw into a window. I think he has a really quick release, and I think he can read a defense and progress through his reads. Now, that is incredibly exciting. But the problem is there's just not a huge amount of upside with Shedeur. Shedeur, to me, he takes way too many sacks where he should throw the ball away. He tries to make big plays happen when they're just not really there for him. I think he has a real tendency to drop beyond the depth of his pocket and cause his O-line issues. So a lot of the sacks actually are on him as a quarterback. I think the main issue with him is that he wants to play like he's primetime junior, and he's just not really that player. He's not the flashy, incredible athlete that he should be, considering he's Deion's kid. I've seen people say, if you went to watch Colorado and you saw him and Travis Hunter and you said one of this is the son of Deion Sanders, you would not pick Shedeur. And so to me, like he's Tua at best. He's Geno Smith at best. It's someone who is a reasonably okay athlete, reasonably okay behind the line, but going to get things out on time, going to get things out on schedule. And there is a huge amount of that's an important skill set in the NFL. But for fantasy football, the upside to me just isn't really there, which is why I have him at QB3. Now, I think he should go in the first round. I would probably look to take him towards the back of the first round of rookie drafts, maybe the 112, maybe as early as the 201, depending on how things fall. And obviously, if he does find his way into being a starter, whether it's someone taking him in the top 5, although that seems unlikely, or what seems more likely is either the Saints taking him at 9, someone trading back up into the first round, so the Browns or the Giants, if they take Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter or Will Campbell earlier, or if he makes it to the Steelers at 21, that's probably his floor. So he probably will be a starter from day one. It's just, to me, the upside really isn't there with him. I think he's good. I think he's going to be good when he gets to the league. I don't think there's any trait in him that makes me think he's going to be a great quarterback, which just prevents me from ranking him any higher than this. This is the one which is going to send the comments and Twitter popping off. My quarterback 2 in the 2025 NFL draft class is Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. Now, look, I get it. There are so many reasons to not like Milroe and to think that he probably won't end up being a starter in the NFL. Whether it's the troublingly inconsistent accuracy, whether it's the inability to play with touch, whether it's the fact that he really struggles to get off his first read, that he struggles to read a defense sometimes. There are some ball placement issues. He has a tendency to create contested catches where there just shouldn't have been them. Yeah, I get it. I completely get it. But there's definitely some things that I see on film as a passer that I adore, but that, as we know, is not the reason that I have him at quarterback 2 in this class. Jalen Milroe might potentially be the best athlete in the draft. I think he's really up there with Travis Hunter. And certainly at the quarterback position, he is one of the best runners that we have seen since Lamar Jackson, potentially even the best. He's obviously very different to someone like Anthony Richardson. This is more of a speed threat. But when you see him run, it is like watching no one else. His ability to get to the edge is incredible. The long speed makes him truly a home run threat anytime he touches the ball. And I just think that if he can work on integrating that rushing ability into the passing game as well, if he can develop in being able to make reads, being able to throw with touch, being able to throw with timing, being able to throw more accurately, there is a huge potential here. And the other thing with Milroe is that he has a cannon of an arm. He throws with such a quick release and with such velocity to hit all 3 areas of the field. Now, sometimes slightly throws it too fast and too hard. But if we can work on that, if we can develop that, there is such a toolsy quarterback here. And I think there's definitely been some flashes of a processing ability. I don't think you can perform as well as he did, particularly in 2023, without being able to process in some form. Milrow to me is just going to be dropping down draft boards because we've been betrayed by Anthony Richardson. We've been hurt by these toolsy quarterbacks that just haven't quite worked out in the past few years. I mean, even Kyler Murray really hasn't been as good as we wanted him to be. But to me, with Milrow for fantasy football, the moment he steps on the field, I am going to be willing to start him because he is that dynamic of a rusher. And I think there are tools there that we can work with to be able to see him be a starter in the league. Recently, he's actually been mocked in the first round. He has been invited to day one of the draft, and if a team is that invested in him, you can guarantee that I'm going to be towards the back end of the first of rookie drafts, or its current ADP is midway through the second. If you can get him there, I think it's an absolute steal. It's a huge boom bust pick, maybe even more so than any other quarterback than we've seen in the last few years, but to me, the upside for fantasy football is just worth it. I kind of wish I could do something less chalky for my QB1, but it is Cam Ward. However, what I want to talk about with Cam Ward isn't just how much I love him in this class, it's where I'd rank him towards other classes. In terms of him as a prospect, he is a mobile pocket passer, he is incredibly accurate and has a fantastically quick release. He is just never rattled in the pocket. His pocket mobility is fantastic, and I think he is accurate all three levels. He has great velocity on the ball, but he also knows how to throw with touch. He's mobile enough as well to be able to create plays when his team needs them to. Now, some of the flaws of him are just laziness. He can struggle with inaccuracy at the boundary, but the footwork can just be lazy. There's so many times that you saw him just wandering behind that Miami line, and he's not going to be able to do that in the NFL. But this guy is going to be going number one overall. So the question that people are having about Cam Ward is, where would he rank against other classes? Is this guy the QB1 just because he's the best of a bad bunch, or because he actually is deserving of that spot? And I've seen people compare it to the Kyler Murray draft, where, yeah, it's the number one overall pick, and there are some other players that are probably higher, that they're better at their position than Kyler Murray is at his, like Nick Bosa, for example. But he is deserving of the number one overall pick. It's not just that the other quarterbacks behind him are Daniel Jones. It's that he should be drafted number one overall. And that's my thinking with Cam Ward. And comparing him to last year, I would actually have him just underneath that top three, probably underneath Bo Nix as well in terms of my pre-draft rankings. So if I was ranking pre-draft between the 2024 and 2025 classes, I would be going Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. I was low on Jaden Daniels, obviously wrong there. My QB4 was Bo Nix, and I would probably have Cam Ward at QB5, but he's in that tier with Bo Nix, and then Michael Penix and JJ McCarthy coming in around him. I really love Ward. He doesn't compare to Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May, but he is a fantastic prospect who is deserving to be going at first overall in this draft class. To me, I'm looking to take him at either 102 or 103 in Superflex drafts. In one quarterback leagues, probably towards the middle or back of the second round. But I would not let the worries about this quarterback class turn you away from drafting someone that I think has the upside of easily a top 15 quarterback in this league and in fantasy football as well, particularly if he can learn to use his legs a little bit more in a designed running game. But there is so much to love about Cam Ward. That is going to do us for today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below in the comments who you have as your top 5 quarterbacks in this draft. I'm confident there's going to be a massive split of opinion. And while you're there, subscribe to the channel and check out my free rookie guide in the comments below. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.